So let us go on with the agenda. We're in session 4A, the new tech and approaches for better services. So we go next with Mr. Aleksi Koponen, the special advisor at the Public Sector ICT Ministry of Finance in Finland. So we see Aleksi already here with us. Let me start giving you the stage and prepared for a presentation. So the debate is going to be around the topic towards a human-centric and proactive society. So Mr. Aleksi Koponen, I'm giving you the stage.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for Estonia for very great presentation and story. It seems that we are like at the same storyline, and that is the reason that it's very great to have a collaboration with countries like Estonia, as we are pushing our both of our countries towards to the human-centric era. So it's rather easy to collaborate with these kind of things. So I will just continue on that story the Estonians told here. So actually, I try to concentrate on people. So as we're talking about the human centricity, I rather not talk too much about the governance or the government's service provision. Of course, that is part of that. But the basic key question is about the transformation, as we have been heard before in these sessions and all around this day. So as we all know, the digitization has been like around like maybe 70 years. And after that, we have been digitalized stuff. And the greatest question lies within the digital transformation. So and as we all know, it's very hard to tackle. So since that is a systemical change, we cannot just build in technological advantages or infrastructure elements or just enabling data to go through from different sectors or different silos. Of course, those are the part of that. The biggest question is how we do things, so how we change the operations. And that is something that we try to tackle within the Sodara AI program. And the Sodara AI program is something that we collaborate with Estonian and other countries as well. So this is like a bigger challenge at large scale, and I argue that it's a global dilemma, as previous presentation said, that we are in the middle of different kind of paradigms. So if we consider a paradigm from Big Brother society, and we consider paradigms where great big platform providers controls the service provision, and we as a democratic countries tries to figure out this human-centric approach at a European level, at a societal level. And that's why we have to collaborate. We cannot do this kind of change just by building our within our own country silos. That's why we need to figure out that together. But I try to tell you something about the Sodara AI program. So basically, we divide the whole program in two parts. The first part is, of course, the technological capabilities. We need to enable this kind of network to be formed. So in previous years, we have been built Suomi.fi services. Those are just an example at a nationwide scale. Those are just infrastructure elements. And they by themselves doesn't push us to the human-centric era. We need to do lots of things for the operations. And when we are dealing with the operations, we cannot just consider public governance. Rather, we need to figure out this at a societal scale and from the perspective of people. And that's why the live event approach, as Estonian people presented, and lots of countries are applying this live event approach, is very critical, since this live event approach gives us new kind of lenses to our organizations to see our society from perspective of people. And that's why those are very critical ones. In Sodara AI program, as I mentioned about the network, of course, we are developing, and actually now we are at the phase where we are implementing already services within the Sodara AI network. So we already have the 4 key components set in place. And also we are building these operational models. And actually these operational models are built they are built from those organizations who will be transforming themselves to the age of AI in a human-centric and ethical way. And of course, they are utilizing different kind of technological advantages, data, and all sorts of stuff that helps those organizations to do this systemical change. But everything starts from the people, of course. So about the mission or actions, I believe we all share these same ideas. So I don't go into more details with those things. But one key message from me is that if you are building some sort of an human-centric society, then you need to understand what kind of society that is. And the second point is that from which perspective you are presenting that vision. So if I'm from the Ministry of Finance, and from my point of view, if I just say that, okay, from Ministry of Finance point of view, the society looks like this and that. No, we have to be better. We have to envision the society from perspective of people. And that goes to the life event approach as well. So if you are choosing any life event, then you need to envision that people who are having that life event and backcast the real execution phase from the future. So you need to have the real future tools to understand what kind of society you need to have and you might have when you are utilizing technological advantages. And you don't need to wrap on the existing legislation when you are envisioning a better future. As we are talking about transformation, we are changing basically and challenging basically the status quo of legislation and how our society functions nowadays. So it's a path to a direction where none of us has been going through yet, and we assume that we are, even though we are not doing that, then somebody is doing. So somebody is forming this kind of future, as in this image you can see there is like a real vision that we built like in the first part of our AI program that helped us to understand what is our direction to the future. So that helps you to form the real execution phase to some direction. And I'm not going too deep details, but this is just one part of that. And also one key part of this human centricity is that how you empower your people. I am not talking about citizens, since if I'm a citizen, then I'm located, I'm siloed as from one point of view, from a country point of view, I'm a citizen. But yeah, really, I'm Aleksi, I'm a whole person, and I have lots of data that defines who I am. So that's why this empowerment is one part of these systems change, where we help people to understand how their situation is right now. So if you have like now a subjective understanding of your multidimensional well-being, we try to support people to better understand through objective data as well. So the better people understand their own multidimensional well-being, the better they can control their own lives. So that is a hypothesis within the Aurora AI program. And that's why the concept of digital twin is just one part of that. So these digital twins or avatars, or you can say digital representations, we don't have the particular name for that yet, but that is something that helps you to communicate and go through the optimal service provision within this Aurora AI network. So it's like a less or more a remote controller for your own life within the service space. And you need all of this kind of activities simultaneously. So if you don't do that kind of stuff when you are trying to enter to the human-centric era, at least we have been discovered in Finland that it's rather challenging if you don't have any data about who your people are and how your people are really doing. And that is very critical part of the change. If you are building a human-centric society, then you are not building Big Brother society. So when you are applying understanding of the people, at least in Finland, we try to characterize our people. So we don't know individuals out of the data. Rather, we understand more particular about the characteristics of our people. The better we can understand the characteristics of our people, the better we can optimize service space for the better of the people. And that is the place where we have applied different kind of reference services. One reference services is called how you are doing service. So basically we try to help people to understand their own situation. We have been applying this in the next year. We are piloting this with the people between 13 to 16 years old who are having the confirmation class within the church. Almost 80% of the people in Finland are having this confirmation class. So that's why the church is one part of this change. So I am not talking about the public governance digital transformation. Of course, that is part of that, but I'm talking about the systemical level. And the live event approach went greatly through from Estonian point of view. So I'm not going that into deep details. And this is just an example about people living actually in Turku area. So these are real people in Turku. And by cluster analysis, we have the better understanding of our people, and we basically try to characterize them. And by the characterization, we can optimize the service space. So the better that understanding gives us as a service provider data, the better we can provide that kind of services that really brings value. And this is the last slide actually. So now we are in Finland at the position where we are, as I mentioned before, we are applying this Aurora AI network. Actually, this is open source. So as Estonian fellows is doing as this chatbot technology. So this is the way we do actually things in Finland and in Estonia. So we try to share these thoughts. We try to share these technologies. This change that you can see in this picture is like a wider framework and wireframe that we have been developed in last 5 years actually. So this is the second time I'm presenting this internationally. So it is freshly baked from the oven. So now we have 3 cities on the left side on the picture. Those are the houses basically who are siloed organizations, and they are now doing the digital transformation to the human-centric era. We are building special forces for transformation within these organizations, and they are mandated to do the transformation journey, and they will be having shared situational analysis, future images. They are applying empowerment tools for people and businesses. They are applying Aurora AI chatbot technologies and other chatbot technologies. So we are not monopolizing chatbots just for the Aurora AI technology. There can be any kind of chatbots that are collaborating within this Aurora AI network. And this Aurora AI network is a new kind of way to challenge the status quo of how internet works. So we try to be better than from the point of view of the merchandising. We come to this idea from the point of view of people's well-being. So we try to incentivize service ecosystems for the better of the people within chosen life events and situations. And that's why you need to make these transformation journeys through the use cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexi. Thank you very much for these freshly baked stories and visions of the future from the Northern Europe standpoint. Let us now move on to the Southern Europe. So we already have with us Santiago Grania. He will present us the story about smart technologies within the plan for digitalization of Spain's public administration. So Santiago Grania, the stage is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mate. Can you hear me?
We can hear you well, we can see you well, we can see the presentations, we're all set.
Okay, perfect. So hello, everyone. And again, thank you, Matek, for giving us the opportunity to comment on the approach in Spain about smart technologies in the current Spain's digitalization plan. First thing first, I'm working for the General Secretariat for Digital Administration under the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation. This is a horizontal unit, sort of a CIO office, which is responsible of the ICT strategy in Spanish public sector. We're also providing platforms and services mainly for the general state administration, although we have some country-wide projects, interoperability projects across the different levels of the administration. And in the past years and in our current ICT strategy, one of the main cornerstone is around developing building blocks to foster the development of new services. We have dozens of utilities, platforms like identification, electronic notification, data intermediation platforms, invoicing platforms. So every ministry or public body at the General State Administration does not have to reinvent the wheel. This is why it is not strange that in our current plan for digitalization of the Spanish public administration that was approved this year in January for a 5-year period, the first out of 3 axles is devoted to the evolution and creation of new platforms and services. And I will devote the following minutes to comment on technologies that we are providing as platform as a service with regards to smart process automation and data analytics. Regarding the former one, we have 2 technologies, being the first one, robotic process automation. We have completed recently a procurement and established a pool of 400 digital workers that have a central administration. They are not client bound, these digital workers. We work with our ministries and public bodies to define tasks that can be automated within their processes, and we orchestrate the pool of digital workers to achieve a global resource optimization while meeting service level agreements. Just to give you an example of the use cases where we're using this technology, we're helping our own ministry in a grant program for small and medium enterprises for digital transformation. We expect more than 1 million applications in the coming 2 years. And we're also supporting the National Employment Service with the unemployment benefits. In these cases, we interface with the existing information management systems to the digital worker pool, so we can automate tasks that can range from going to external data sources, checking requirements coming from the applications, doing some document handling and validation, or any other task from the most simple to more complex ones that can alleviate the managers in the process of these massive grant programs. Second technology regarding process automation is the usage of a very mature technology, which is BPM, which is readily available off the shelf. We're replacing in this current plan an already custom-made management system that we deploy for a number of customers with off-the-shelf technology with very low requirements of programming, that is with low code. We're also developing on top of this platform reusable components while retaining also client autonomy and doing central administration, just to get new digital services with very low time to market. And finally, the third technology I would like to comment on is the creation of a common data lake for the General State Administration, where we can run loads of traditional BI, but also big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence. We will be overcoming with this new platform our current limitations of having multiple data warehouses in a sort of silo approach that impedes data exchange and that has higher costs of maintenance towards a data space with improved data sharing between data coming from different public bodies, where we can do advanced analytics, and also we will be focusing on G2G at the beginning, but it's readily available for G2B and B2G cases. This sort of common data space allows, for example, the implementation of use cases like the one consisting of a joint collaboration for a common data repository for scientific research of public interest, where 4 different Spanish agencies are providing data for scientific research in this common environment. We're not only providing technology for the different ministries and public bodies under the general state administration, but also a very high skill team of people around every technology that I mentioned before, and we're helping the different units in the discovery and finding new use cases where these platforms could be of potential use by defining them, helping the different IT departments in the ministries to implement the solutions, making high use of reusable components, and transition finally these projects to products in service and operation. Just to conclude, we find, and the history of the past years has let us know that having these common platforms is a way to have very cost-efficient development of digital administration in Spain. Reducing the time to market to provide new digital services, and in some sense kind of democratizing this technology where small IT shops would not be able to invest in these platforms and high skill engineers. We provide the platforms, so they have to only overcome the development on top of the platforms, which is easier. We provide this know-how and expertise in platforms that are provided as a service, so they're transparently scalable. They have high degrees of security, and we develop for all the general state administration reusable components to speed up time to market. In this way, we find ourselves minimizing the total cost of ownership of these technologies and enable better services for the public. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Santiago, for highlighting how you are going about digitalizing the public services in Spain. Now we're moving back to the northern part of Europe, so we're going to Sweden. Joining us on stage is David Magaert, so he's already with us here on the stage. So David, as I'm giving you the floor, just short introduction. So you're the senior advisor at the Swedish Companies Registration Office in Sweden. And what we're going to look at is the public sector automation supported by AI. So we see the PowerPoint. If you can just put it in the slideshow mode, so do we have it in the full screen? Because we see it in the edit right now.
Is it? Okay. Really? This what's yeah, I'm not sure what to do then. Maciej.
Okay, so let us do that. I'm going to stop your sharing, and now you go out of the slideshow mode and go back into the slideshow mode, and then back into the Zoom and share the slideshow mode of the PowerPoint. That should do the trick.
I said out, share. Oh no, yeah, of course. I have to start presentation mode first, right?
Yeah.
That's what's the trick. Okay, sorry. We rehearsed this.
But no problem.
Let's I see that I'm a bit we are a bit behind the schedule now. It's better.
No, but it's fine. But we're just gonna squeeze the Q&A part. So just take your allotted time that you want. So we hear you well, we see you well, and see the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, as I met you say, I'm a senior advisor at the Swedish Companies Registration Office. I came here recently from the Swedish Ministry of Infrastructure, where I worked with AI and automation and other stuff regarding digitalization. So firstly, at the political level, these are the goals of the parliament, government, and the government orientation. And in this, I have to also say that we have a focus also like Finland and Estonia is already speaking about on the citizen in the center. And I have to apologize because I am at home with my son who's ill with Wi-Fi. One thing that's important for automation is that you have to have the political level here. And in Sweden, this is not a great debate, I have to say. So I know this is a bigger debate in many countries. Automation of services in public administration. In Sweden, we from the political level, pretty much all organizations, civil society are pro automation and automated services. And of course, this is part of why we can see that the welfare is under pressure due to the demographic challenge, as many other European countries. We have an aging population. We can see that in 2026, there will be a gap of 15% for upholding current processes and welfare status. And we have to do something here because we can't just put more money into it, really. So digitalization and automation is a must for us. And of course, we see that in automation, there's a great potential. And I think it was Estonia who showed the DESI index from the European Commission. And we are ranked number 3 there. So for the countries that are front runners in digital society, really, we see that the automation is something that we really can use to improve our situation here. This is from McKinsey, but you can see Sweden here in the middle. At the Swedish Companies Registration Office, we're of course deeply involved in these processes. You can see from 2014, when only 28% of our services was e-services. Now, 2019, 55. Our target 2022, next year, is 90, and we are positive that we will achieve this goal. But the next part, I think, is more interesting because e-service is one thing. If you look at the top there, our vision is that business data flows without barriers contribute to the value society. So what we're actually looking for is machine to machine instead of e-services, really. So e-service is like a first step. The next step is free data flows machine to machine. So if you want to send in your file for a company, you should be able to do that through your own systems, really, that are integrated via APIs to our databases. Generally, then in the Swedish public administration on automated decision making, one thing that was really helpful, that has made the process much easier for many of us, is that in 2018 there was a law for public administration that all government agencies may use automated decision making. Previously, this was done in lex specialis, so you have to have a certain law regarding one process to have it to be able to use automated decision making. Now it's free for all to use that. It makes for legal certainty and a much easier process for us all. For municipalities and regions, though, there is not the same possibility today, but there is a proposal to have the same possibilities. although we have to say that automated decisions have been used for quite a long time, but the major evolution here is due to the general digitization of the public administration. And it's frequently used in 2019, and the numbers here from 2019 is because there were several reports on automated decision and automated decision-making processes in Sweden. So most of the information is from 2019. Of 13 government agencies, there were between them 121 million automated decisions for individuals and companies. So quite a lot. It's more now, and we have about 300 government agencies, and these agencies were the ones kind of in the forefront, but we see that more and more are moving to this kind of numbers. However, only 20% of Swedish citizens are aware of this, and I'll get back to that. When it comes to automated decisions, of course, why we use it, and of course, automation, I already mentioned that, but it's faster, it's more efficient, less costly, and arguably, depending how you do it, there's a higher degree of legal certainty, because if you put in the same information, you'll get the same result all the time. Of course, also high transparency, because if you have the proper documentation and processes, it's much easier to see if there's something wrong, and you can follow it in the logs or in the code. If you just have people, it's much harder to dig in people's minds on what's happened. And two cases just to prove this: Swedish Social Insurance Agency, they made 3.3 million decisions regarding parental benefits in 2019. 56 of these decisions were fully automated. Manual decisions took 8.3 days, and the automated took 3.1. And it's faster now, and the numbers are higher. We haven't have it confirmed in like a government report, but we're quite sure of this. Same thing, Swedish Tax Agency, 35% cheaper to make it to make the tax return declarations in an automated process. AI then. Also government report looked at what kind of value AI would provide to public administration. 14 billion euros yearly if we implement the AI technologies used today. Of course, there are many obstacles here, but still, if we can see here that this would easily kind of fill the gap that we are facing using due to the demographic situation. So here we are quite focused here. As regards for AI in automated processes, we're still not using AI to the extent that we are using it in fully. So there's an AI making the decisions, but it's kind of baked in the processes. You can see here 10.2 of the organizations in the public sector are using AI, mostly for categorizing, evaluating, and streamlining processes. I also have two cases here from us. We use AI to find patterns that would indicate the criminal activities in companies. So there's an AI there that sorts out those declarations or whatever to a human for investigation. The Swedish Land Registration Authority, they use AI to analyze maps, to improve the data, and then to help with the decisions regarding land registrations to create new immovable properties and such. Just a couple of months ago, the government came with an assignment to 4 agencies in Sweden, one of them being us, the Companies Registration Agency, to support the use of AI in public administration, because as the government says, a lot is being done, but it has to be for common use, and we have to help those who haven't started their kind of AI journey, and we have to make sure that we have common standards and common tools and code and everything. So it's open and it's easier for all to access and use. So we will produce an AI guide, a kind of library for AI technical tools and codes to be freely used. Project library to see if what kind of projects there has been done and what kind of hinder obstacles they faced or success stories. And a trust model, which I come back to. Then there are also about 10 assignments out now that are focusing on sharing data to support AI and innovation. So it's directed to public administration agencies, but it's also in a private public partnership kind of setting. So what we're going to do is create an arena where we can share data using same platforms and APIs standards. And as I said previously, only 20% of Swedish population knows about how many decisions there are that are being used by automated processes. And as the Swedish Agency of Public Management said, that in order to be able to manage societal challenges, there must be trust both between citizens and institutions. And even though, as I said, there seems to be kind of everyone agreeing that automation is good for society here, but we still see that there is a discussion about it, especially on the global level, and there is a general decrease in confidence to the public sector in society. So we are thinking about how to ensure trust and high trust and confidence for us when we are taking the next steps towards using AI, which is of course a subject that is kind of more on the radar for many. There seems to be quite many misconceptions out there. So what we are doing is we're making a trust model. It was based in a government assignment from 2020 as in the first iteration. And it's a model that should be used as a framework for all the public administration. So you can be sure that when you're using this process, you're doing the right things, and you can also show to anyone who wants to see it what has been done and why, and that would in the next run then create more trust, as we think. So this model haven't been translated to English, but it's like a five layer model. So kind of CE marking at the top, so you can see that okay, this model has been used, kind of similar to AI Act, as many have seen. There's an information overview, an easier like simplified information overview for people like me who aren't a tech guy. An index, what's in the model, a model card. We know. I know some of you probably know of Google's and IBM's model cards for AI, similar to that, and a version log. And this version log would be also hashed into a blockchain to be tamper-proof then, so we see that it hasn't been tampered really. Yeah, and so my takeaways from this is if we're building on the automated processes and work already been done, AI Act, of course, and trust models, it's likely that we will see fully automated decisions using AI at large, really, in a couple of years. But it's necessary to keep building trust for this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you for giving us a glimpse into the views and how you're solving the topic. So going back to the home country, the host country, Slovenia, where we have Flavio Fuart from the Chamber of Commerce and Industry already joining us on stage. So Flavio, we'll just give you the stage. We can see you, I believe we can hear you, and also the presentation, so please.
Thank you, Matej. So you can see the presentation, right?
Yes, very well.
Okay, good. So basically, as Matej said, I come from the ICT Association of Slovenia, where we also have a very strong group working on e-health. So I would like to tell you about about an ICT success story that was achieved during the pandemics, and this was done by the collaboration of the government, of course, of healthcare professionals, and of ICT companies that are part of this ecosystem. I will start from the results that this whole ecosystem has achieved. So if you drive around the country, you will see that there are hundreds of containers like this. They are basically ad hoc COVID testing facilities that were set up to tackle this increased need for mass testing and also for vaccination. But containers are not for vaccination. Vaccination is done in other facilities. But the system that I will show you, it's very similar. So if you are a Slovenian resident, anywhere in Slovenia, you can go to this testing facility. So no matter where you live, where your residence is, if you are from this or from the other region, you basically go there. You need your health insurance card. You need your phone. You take a test, and that's it. You can go, and in the matter of 20 minutes, half an hour, you will receive an SMS message with the test result. And if you have a national health mobile app, you will also receive a digital COVID certificate in your phone that you can use to enter different facilities, cross borders, and so on. So how was this achieved that we managed to put in place such a system nationwide? So now I will go a bit back in time because this was all possible because Slovenia launched centralized patient data registry and clinical data repository back in 2015. Centralized means that again all residents with the healthcare insurance card have their data stored there. The system is based on open standard, open interfaces, which enables interoperability not only at the central level, but also different clinical and administrative ICT systems of healthcare providers and other stakeholders. So those external systems, they are provided by either private ICT companies or other vendors. So since 2015, I mean, nowadays, all public hospitals, clinics, labs, GPs, all the pharmacies in the country have been connected to this national backbone. And most of the private practices as well. So we have a strong integrating the e-health system in the country. The process is, I will say, almost completely paperless because there are still some processes that are not automated. But in principle, data is exchanged electronically among different healthcare institutions. As a citizen, you need on your healthcare insurance card to provide access to your data to a specific healthcare provider or a pharmacy or insurance company or so on. So what is important to note, this is also goes along the lines of the keynote provided by Mr. Strothman. Basically, because we started with standards and with interoperability, the whole platform is vendor independent, allows easy integration of new software, new modules, new software providers, new functionalities, new data structures, and so on. And this allows us to have still secure, strong, but on the other hand, agile e-health system in the country. Now, and then, of course, the pandemic happened. The system didn't have everything that was needed to tackle the pandemic. So some kind of rapid response was needed also from the IT point of view. We needed to, first of all, minimize the physical contact with healthcare services when this was safe enough for the patient, especially for some administrative issues. Why would you go for a referral, for example, to your GP if this can be done electronically? Then we needed to support at national level also for each individual healthcare worker two completely new or changed processes. So we had mass COVID testing put in place, which didn't exist before for any of the diseases. We had a mass vaccination campaign, which goes beyond also vaccination, also already in place for young children. So these were two processes that were administratively very heavy on healthcare workers. So there was a need, of course, to leverage this to help them somehow. And then later came also the common European digital COVID certificate that should have been sorted out somehow. So in December 2020, the nationwide solution for COVID testing and notification services was in place. In January, a web solution for testing facilities was available, and as well a web solution for providing results. Then later in May, the system was upgraded also to support vaccination appointments and vaccination results. In parallel to this national effort, software providers for their own clients, healthcare workers, optimize their systems to improve the processes and to minimize this administrative burden on health workers. So mass testing, mass vaccination, we had central access to demographic data, to patient data, to healthcare insurance data, and so on. And this data was also used to improve these processes. So that really entering the result of a COVID test or entering the vaccination information for the vaccination certificate really should take a few seconds, not more, right? Now, for example, the SMS notification systems was developed in something like 2 weeks. The integration of the COVID certificate in the whole system took something like 2-3 weeks. So we can see that once it was decided what should be implemented, the upgrade of the system was very flexible and very fast. Of course, collaboration was needed between all the stakeholders. So the Institute for Public Health, which is running the system, the Ministry for Health, software providers, and healthcare professionals. We nowadays have a single shared registry of tested, vaccinated, and recovered patients, and automatic issuing of COVID certificates. And those achievements were possible only because investments in previous years in the development of and upgrading and maintenance of the core national patient registry. So this long-term strategy of decoupling data for applications, setting open standards, common data models was a critical and very successful decision in the past, so that it allowed agile provision of new functionalities and fulfillment of new needs of the health system. So so let's see some numbers. So the results in numbers since 2016 in the national backbone, we have collected more than 110 million documents. This includes EHR records, prescriptions, referrals, discharge letters, and so on. What is more interesting is that the patient, citizens can access their own data through a web portal or a mobile app. So these systems has been accessed this year, only this year, more than 22 million times, which is a tenfold increase, so more than 10 times more than last year. Nowadays, we have almost 500,000 registered users, which is again more than 10 times than what we had last year, by the end of last year. So this only shows that the system this also shows that the system is very robust and very resilient, because if you are IT experts, you know that these spikes in usage or in data or in the amount of data can cause severe problems to those systems. Here also it's interesting to say that at the national level we have a single point, it's called the SI Pass, a single point for verifying the identity of citizens, businesses, and so on. So it's kind of identity, and this is also used for to access your COVID certificates, but also for other e-government services like taxation and so on. And I don't have the numbers here, but the increase there was also very high because of all the contactless services that you can get from our government. The numbers on the lower right, so we have more than 10 million SMS messages sent in the last year, with tests, with the test results, with vaccination information, with the booking of time slot for vaccination, and so on. So these are, you have seen the results, but we have not stopped there. We are trying to look forward, what is in front of us. So we as ICT Association see very positively and follow with great interest the establishment of the European health data space through the legislative proposal put forward by the European Commission, which is at the moment, I think, already been processed by the European Parliament. We see that our e-health system, it's a very good, is a strong basis for Slovenia to be to join and to contribute to the common European health data space. So what do we get beyond what we have now? Of course, we get cross-border services, easier access for all our citizens to cross-border services, also provision to health services based on also on digital information to European citizens traveling to Slovenia. What is very important, and we don't have yet this in Europe, except from some very advanced countries like Finland, for example, it's a secondary use of data, so using anonymized data collected in e-health systems to support research of treatments, development of new medicines, to encourage the use of this data for policy making, epidemiology, and so on. So this is one important achievement that we see as what is going to come out of the European health data space. Support for digital health services to boost innovation, to give also to SMEs and to startups possibilities to provide new services over existing data sets. And very important also what we have seen in the previous presentation, it's the safety and liability of artificial intelligence. So these regulations should help us to basically understand what are the positive and the negative sides of using AI in healthcare. I see, Matej, you are.
I appeared on stage because
and my presentation it's by the end. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Flavio. So we were pretty much synchronized. So we're going a little bit into this other section. No matter we have these buffers in the agenda, so we can accommodate for that. What I suggest now is we did get a couple of questions. One was in the chat, already answered by Indrek quite extensively, and then one is also in the Q&A for David. So I would ask David if you could just type it in so that we can let's say save some time from the live Q&A session now after the session. So thank you very much for all the panelists from the session 4A for your presentations,